Welcome to the Jack Mountain Bushcraft Podcast, episode 120.
Welcome to the Jack Mountain Bushcraft Podcast with your host, Jack Mountain Bushcraft School founder and Master Main Guide, Tim Smith.
I'm your host, Tim Smith. I'm a registered Master Main Guide and have been a full-time outdoor instructor and guide since founding the Jack Mountain Bushcraft School in 1999. We help people become more skilled, more knowledgeable, more experienced, and more confident in the natural world through our bushcraft and guide training semester programs and multi-week canoe and snowshoe expeditions. You can check out the show notes to all of our podcasts at blog.jackmtn.com. If you're interested in learning more about our college-accredited and GI Bill-approved programs, visit the Jack Mountain Bushcraft School on the web at jackmtn.com. And check out our online network and digital learning academy at bushcraftschool.com. Well, it's been a minute and 6 months, I guess, since we've recorded one of these, but we're back. We're ready to start our busy season, and I'm joined by two new instructors, and we're going to hopefully shake the rust off of this podcast thing and see how... just check in with everybody. So, I want to welcome two instructors for our Wilderness Canoe Expedition semester that starts today to the podcast. We've got Rick right next to me.
Hello.
And we've got Oz over there.
How you doing?
And we'll circle back to those guys in just a second about, they'll introduce themselves and stuff. But it was a busy off season. We didn't have much of a winter here in northern Maine or anywhere for that matter. If you were outside in the north, you probably noticed that. So I spent most of the winter in Texas and was able to get together with a couple old friends and alumni, and we managed to canoe the lower canyons of the Rio Grande. 83 miles, it's super low water with stunning scenery, and just had an absolute blast doing it. And have been back up here in Maine for a couple of weeks, and just got back. We did a 40-mile spring whitewater trip, May 1, 2, and 3 on a local river. Super high water, super cold, super fast. And caught a couple of really big, beautiful native brook trout and just had a blast. But today, after working for a few days to get camp set up, we've got people arriving today for the 4-week Wilderness Canoe Expedition semester, and we'll talk about that in a bit here as well. But this is year 25 for the Jack Mountain Bushcraft School, doing this full time, and this is going to be long-term program number 61. So I look in the mirror now. I tend to sometimes not recognize the guy that I see with the white beard and all, but yeah, kind of been at it a while. So let's ask you two guys. So these guys are both alumni here, both have like a lifetime of various varied experiences under their belt and have spent a significant amount of time, I should say, in the woods with me. But yeah, let's do a little introduction here. I guess we'll start with you, Rick, since you're sitting next to me.
Yeah, so my name's Rick Swain. It's my first year helping Tim out with the canoe expedition. Looking forward to that. Gaining some guiding experience, and just happy to be up in Maine after this crappy winter that we had.
And you are a registered Maine guide, right, Rick?
Correct, yeah. I am.
Nice. And over on the corner there, we've got Oz.
How you doing? I'm Oz. I'm back. This will be the third season I get to spend with you.
Some people just can't get enough misery in their life.
I can't. I'm a glutton for punishment.
I'm just going to say that.
So yeah, I'm super excited to be back. To be honest, there's no other place I'd rather be. So really looking forward to getting started.
So you'll hear all of my jokes for like the 15th time.
Yeah, I'm starting to pick them up myself.
It was a busy winter, but there are no new jokes.
Damn.
We were joking about dad jokes the other day, and I was like, yeah, when I was a kid, they just called those jokes.
Yeah. My kids get sick of them. For sure.
Yeah, so these guys both have our in-house certifications. Both have their journeyman cert. Both have their engagé level 3 cert. And we haven't really debuted that. We've got our 1 and our 2, and I'll explain those in just a second. But these guys have their number 3. So Engage is our in-house like canoe guiding certification. And it comes from an old book about Quebec, and they talked about a working canoeman was known as an engagé. So our level 1 engagé is for flat water, like knowing your way around boats on flat water. Level 2 is moving water, so poling, paddling, lining through various classes of white water and things. And then level 3 is planning, executing, and managing a remote river trip solo through some white water. And these guys did that last fall. You guys did a big trip nearby here. You were out for 6 days, was it?
Yep.
Yeah.
5 nights, 6 days?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and they... So it's great to have them back. There's certain things that I think that you learn when you're not on a course, when you have nobody to ask, when you have to make the decision yourself, and you have to figure out any problems that come up, you have to solve them. And I think that shy of having that experience, you're probably not ready to lead other people out there. But once you have that experience, I think it's a huge benefit to you and just your experience level that, you know, okay, if there's a problem, I'm going to solve it. I think it was Vanilla Ice that once said, if there's a problem, I'll solve it. Which brought up my other thing that I was thinking of this winter was I'm going to ditch the whole like outdoor stuff and start my music career.
Nice.
But I'm going to go to the Philippines to start it. And here's why. Because I'm going to be Manila Ice.
It's going to go well. I can already see it.
Yeah, so our plan for this upcoming 4-week immersion into canoeing, it's going to be a little different than in years past, just because I felt like last year, I think we talked about this, or I talked about this on the last podcast, but I felt like at the end of week 4, the second trip that we didn't accomplish much towards our goal of getting people ready to guide their own trips. So I think this year, week 1 is always like immersion. You know, we got to learn how to swing an axe safely, light a fire, cook on the fire, basics of paddling, poling. So we spend week 1 around camp and around the local area, doing some instruction, getting out on the water for day trips, and we'll usually do 1 overnight as kind of a shakedown cruise. Weeks 2 and 3 is where we do our big tripping portion, and that's our big trip. And then in the past, week 4, we've done a second trip, but this year we're going to really dial in on advanced water skills, so advanced poling, advanced paddling, whitewater stuff. And we're not exactly sure where we're going to be. That's going to be dependent on water levels, but we may go to Chase Rapids on the Allagash and camp there for a few days. There's a possibility we could go up to the St. John and camp at Big Rapids there, but somewhere where we can do a lot of time in the really faster moving water. That's our plan anyway. So, you know, it could totally get upended and we end up somewhere totally different. Like, you know, I don't know how it happened, but we ended up at that shady casino in New Brunswick or playing Keno till 3 a.m. Yeah, who knows?
We could sneak across the border, though, pretty easily.
So. Oh, yeah. Sneak across the... There was a great Trailer Park Boys episode where they like stole a train and they were smuggling drugs across the border from Canada to the U.S. under this river that was the border between the U.S. and Canada. And I'm like, that's the St. Croix. Like, it has to be the St. Croix. They named it something else in the show, but I'm like, I've been there 100 times. Like, you don't need to go under the river.
It's a campground.
Yeah, like, you just go across there. Pretty good. So if you guys don't mind, if you'll humor me for a second, because people are going to come out here and probably deal with you guys or deal with you somewhere else. Mm-hmm. If you give us a little bit about your background, like what you're bringing to, I'm looking across the table here, and all three, I have a white beard, and these guys have at least a little bit of gray in their beard, so none of us are kind of wet behind the ears. And but these guys haven't spent a lifetime guiding; they've spent a lifetime doing other things. So yeah, enlighten us a little bit of background on you guys.
Yeah, so I spent most of my adulthood in the Army. Spent 22 years mostly as a medic. So I think what I'm kind of looking to gain out of here is getting some more guiding experience, and we're going to be running a main guide medic course later on in the year, and trying to get ready. We'll be running that here, so be working with Tim to finalize some things on that. And after I got out of the Army, my dream was to come to this school eventually. It took me 10 years to kind of get my life in order so that I was able to leave for 9 weeks, and came up, and haven't quite officially left yet after 3 or 4 years. So keep coming back for more punishment from Tim.
How about you, Oz?
Started off pretty similar to Rick, except I joined a better branch called the Marine Corps.
It begins.
So, it started off as a Marine. I was a grunt in the Marine Corps, eventually worked my way up and became a scout sniper. Spent 8 years in the Marine Corps, then I was a private contractor for a few years. And just left all that behind. Kind of moved up to the mountains in northern Arizona and became a marijuana grower for a few years, and ran some farms, ran my own farm. Did some hood rat stuff, in the meantime, but eventually life has a way of bringing you back on course, and I had found this course probably back in 2007 or 8, just after I'd gotten out of the Marine Corps, and I had wanted to come up here, but, same as Rick, maybe takes a decade or so to get your life together after some stuff, and but when I finally got up here again, it's hard to get rid of me. So
yeah, I remember both your guys' first times here. It was the canoe expedition two years ago now.
Yes, sir.
With you, that was a fun one.
Yes.
And your semester, was that 2021?
Yeah, it was right after COVID, the class after COVID.
Yeah. Good times. For me, I'm so old now. I've done this so many times that I have to put people together in groups because I forget. I could never put a year's a number on. Oh, you were on that year. It's always I associate it with the people that you were with.
Yes.
Because it's been a while. It's been a hot minute.
Mm-hmm.
So we're excited to have these guys. They bring a lot to the table. If you ever come out here for a long course, you realize that a lot of it is about the skills, but at least an equal portion is also about the people skills, the interpersonal skills, dealing with people, managing groups. And I love having people with a bit of gray in their beard, or if it's a female, a bit of gray in their hair, because you know that they've got that life experience where they can deal with those challenging situations. And, on the podcast, on the videos, it always seems like everything's always light and fun, and it usually is, but it's always interspersed with little bits of extreme stress and extreme drama that can be sometimes difficult to navigate. But that's life, and that's the challenge of any sort of residential program. I always like to say, if it's a short course, a short course is if it's up to 5 days, 7 days probably. That's kind of like going on a date, right? You put on your best face and you everything's okay and you're smiling and happy. But the long course is like the 4-week expedition and the 9-week semester. That's like a marriage where the worst, you'll probably at some point during that course demonstrate the best person that you are, but also the worst, right? And you have to be ready to kind of navigate those challenging situations.
That's one thing I love actually about Rick when I came through last year. Is we definitely had some challenges with personalities and just dealing with weather, and it was just all around a tough situation, right? And you see that ability to weather situations for the long term, right? And I think that having Rick there last year was vital. And when you have guys who've been through hard things, they understand that everything is temporary, right? And all you have to do is get through this moment, and then you'll be okay. And then you'll deal with the next moment, and you'll be okay, right? And I think that that's super important when dealing with anything that's physically tough or mentally tough, is having that long-term mentality, thinking that, look, I just got to get through today, and then, I get to sleep tonight, and then I get to start all over tomorrow. So I think that is a good mentality to bring to the course, is that even if you have a tough day, don't let it carry over. Don't let it ruin your day, right? You can always carry on and start over. So
yeah, 100%. And physically hard things bring about mental and emotionally hard things, right? If you're physically up against the wall, like you hit your personal wall physically for the day, like that's when the wheels come off the bus mentally and emotionally. Like that's when people are breaking down into tears, and it's usually not when it's sunny and 70 degrees and you haven't been physically challenged. It's like, okay, I hit the wall physically, like I can't pull up this rapid, or I'm dehydrated and constipated and hypothermic. That's when it just gets really hard. And I think that's when, for long-term programs, residential programs, expeditions, that's when, you want to have people with you that can weather those storms.
Yeah.
And it's weird. I don't know if it's me just getting older or whatever, but maybe the keep those kids off my lawn sort of a thing. But it seems like the further we get into time, the fewer people have experience with that sort of hardship. And I have a lot of hardship in my background because I lived next door to my mother-in-law for quite a bit of time. I'm just kidding. I'm not kidding that I did do that, but she's awesome. But always available for the joke, right? So we're starting that one up today, the Wilderness Canoe Expedition semester, 4 weeks, and then we've got a little bit of time. I'm going to spend a week. Paul Sviam and I are going to go fly fishing in some remote North Maine woods, ponds, and rivers, and then the week after that, we're headed up to the Bonaventure River on the Gaspésie in Quebec to run that for a week. And then we come back after 2 weeks off and start the bushcraft semester. We'll do 2 of those this year. And so it's, for me, basically having a lot of time off in the winter and the off season. Now we hit the ground running today, and we keep running until about middle of November. And then at Thanksgiving, we take a break and have a breath. So should be a fun run. I wouldn't do this if I didn't love it. Obviously, I've got my music career that's starting up, and I could always just count on that to make me a quick $1 million. But
luckily, you can just live stream now, so we can set up your living room pretty well for Manila Ice.
I'm bringing back breakdancing again. So.
Yeah, did it really leave?
No, not in my heart.
Technically, we're just your new 2 hype men.
We're going to talk about this in a future episode, but Rick mentioned this, and I just wanted to throw this out there, that if you're interested in getting a Wilderness First Responder card, nationally certified, all that, but you're looking for something to go a little bit deeper, we're offering a new course this fall called the Maine Guide Medic, and it's going to be 2 weeks. It's going to have some hard components to it. So the standard curriculum of a Wilderness First Responder that Rick teaches through solo, correct?
Correct.
But we're going to add a bunch of other things to it that we have found are kind of lacking from that standard curriculum. Meaning, if you go take a Wilderness First Responder course and get your card, maybe you're not quite ready yet to actually manage an incident in the field. And our plan is to build a course and create a series of experiences on that course to where you will definitely be ready to manage like an incident in the field.
Absolutely.
So, all those things where they say, oh yeah, just now build a litter and carry the patient out. Like, okay, but I've done a lot of medical courses in my day, always as a student. But when they say that and you realize that people don't know how to tie a knot, they don't have any string, they don't know how to do anything like practical like that. Like, okay, maybe they're not going to actually build a litter. Maybe they're not going to be able to bivouac for the night. Maybe they can't spend the night out and keep the patient comfortable. But we're gonna cross all those T's and dot all those I's on that course. So if you're interested, get in touch with us. That course will be GI Bill approved. We will have college credit available as as it will be one of our standard professional training courses. So yeah, Maine Guide Medic coming this fall.
Let me just say this too. One of the things that drew me here to Jack Mountain was I'm a tactile learner. I don't learn as well from reading it out of the book. I may be able to regurgitate something to you for a short amount of time, but I have to do it, and I have to get reps in on it over and over and over, whether it's tying a knot or lifting a canoe or doing a paddle stroke or swinging an axe or carving a netting needle, whatever it is, I need to do it over and over. And some people aren't like that, but I am. And coming out here and getting courses that make you get the reps. So coming and doing a wilderness first aid course where you're not sitting in a classroom for, the first week and, you're getting the ideas of what it takes to rescue someone, and you're getting, you're going to tie a bowline here and you want to make sure that it doesn't close, right? But you're not actually getting to tie that knot over and over and over again. You're not having to put it under stress. You're not having to put your body under stress and having to actually practice what you tend to write down in the real world when you go to that wilderness first aid class at the local library. And I think that that's what you get not only with Rick in his training, but here at Jack Mountain, is you get the reps, you get that tactile learning experience. And if your thing is academics, you're going to get that as well, right? You'll get pushed on that level. But if you're a grunt like me and you just like to swing axes and tie knots and start fires and do all that, you can do that nonstop here. And I think that that is what sets this school apart and what makes someone who comes here and puts in the time and the effort, it will make them a more capable outdoorsman when they leave this place. But it is up to you.
Yeah, and I don't know, I would just add into that, like, something that I noticed that a lot of people in the modern world are lacking is confidence in their ability to perform under pressure. And I think that you build that confidence by achieving 51-day goals in a row. So, we sort of build the courses on, okay, here's the goal for today. Here's the benchmark for today. Like, we want to be able to pull up to the top of that rip. And maybe the next day it's another thing. And the day after that, it's to light a wet weather fire. And when each of those instances by themselves, yeah, it's kind of cool. But when you take them all together in the aggregate, like that's the where confidence comes from. From performing in the field and proving to yourself that you can do it, and then having that level of confidence because you did it. And I say this a lot on courses, that when you have that level of confidence, that a lot of people these days have sort of like that imposter syndrome and, fake it till you make it. And I hope nobody finds out what a fraud I am. When you actually have that level of confidence, like for real, and that's where you're coming from, like you have a different experience of life than most people today.
Yeah, absolutely.
For whatever that's worth.
Just a more authentic existence.
Wow, that got pretty deep fast.
Bring it back.
Yeah. Didn't we have a toilet joke or something?
Put down the bong, Tim.
I don't really have much else. I figure we probably ought to go get ready for people to show up here. But thanks, guys, for coming out. Hopefully we'll be doing this a bit more. I know if you wanted to read more about the Maine Guide Medic course, we've got a page on our website if you wanted to read more. I know Rick has his own website. Where can we find you, Rick?
Yeah, so you can find my website at thesquirrel275.com.
The SCROLL?
Correct. 275.com.
Cool. All right. Well, we probably ought to go get to work. Otherwise, people will be showing up and not knowing, thinking that we went back to that restaurant we went to yesterday, and we'd be there for 6 years before Oz got his raw hamburgers delivered to his table.
Yeah.
Yeah. But thanks for listening, and we'll hit you back soon with another one. Have a good one.
Take care.
Take care.
You have been listening to the Jack Mountain Bushcraft Podcast. For more information on our professional wilderness guide training programs that are college accredited and GI Bill approved, visit us on the web at jackmtn.com.